Hi, I'm Bet from Bet's Makes, and today we're going to be making a to-do list. Actually, we'll make a couple of copies, and this is how they turn out when we have completed the project. They're actually a lot of fun and so easy to put together just using Design Space. You do not need a template for this. I used a medium cardstock in order to make these. As you can see on the screen here, they are absolutely so cute and darling, and I'm going to take you through the whole process. So let's get over to Design Space and start working on it. So here we are in Cricut Design Space, and we're going to make a couple of to-do lists, and we're going to print our own out, put a little background, line up some lines. So there's a lot that we want to do here. And all we're going to need is some pens for our Cricut Maker, a nice piece of paper that you want onto it. I use a bit of cardstock, 8.5 by 11, and then I cut those in half and make these great long to-do lists. So let's get started with this. We're going to be doing the design entirely inside Cricut Design Space. So I'm going to turn off my base cut here. And the first thing I want to do is I want to make the outside shape for my list. Now I'm using an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, and I'm going to want my to-do list approximately 3.5 inches wide. So I am going to have to unlock this. I'm just going to unlock it. So I want this 3.5 inches wide. I'll just type in 3.5, hit my tab key. Now we're working with 11-inch paper, so we could have it as long as, say, 10.5 inches. So to make it easy, let's just make it 10 inches. Hit the enter. And that's going to be our base for how we want this to come out. I'm just looking a little narrow. If I do 3.5, 3.5 is 7. If I made it 4 and 4 is 8. Let's make this 4. Let's unlock it one more time. I'm just going to hit the unlock up here. It did unlock, yes. Okay, let's make this 4 inches. That way I know I can get 2 out of 1 sheet of paper. Let's lock it back up. Remember, you can unlock and lock both top and bottom. This is just going to give me my template for the cut around. Now, I don't necessarily want this to be black, but if I do make it white, we'll be able to see it and it won't bother us so much. Now, the first thing we want to do on top of here is maybe put a nice little background inside here. Something that will look nice. It'll be an outline, and it could be anything that we use. So let's take a look at some of the images available on Cricut Design Space. So I'm just going to click on the images. Now it comes up with a bunch of them right here. So this is going to be a to-do list. So we could have something really cute in there: nature, home, hobbies. We could actually make it a holiday one as well. I'm thinking we probably want something pretty simple, so I'm going to choose food and kitchen, and let's see what we have here. I do have Cricut Access. So you see it has a lot of images that are text. Well, we don't want text ones, but we might want something cute in the background. So I'm just going to scroll down here a bit and see if we can find something that is pretty generic that we can use in the background. So far I haven't found anything that I really like here, but cafe, pie, beer, gingerbread, some mushrooms here that have a lot of images here. So let's see if we can find something that looks pretty simple and yet elegant, because we are going to have to draw it in place. And see if we can find something that looks okay here. Maybe I'll just do an outline of some corn, jelly strawberries. There's a corn here. Let's see if that will draw. Let me just pick on it. I'm going to insert that image. That looks okay. I mean, we can unlock it here, and I can drag it down so it's going to be a background, and we are just simply going to draw it. So I'm just going to place it here. Now it says it's basic cut, but if I come up here to operation, I can do something a little different with it. I can make it a draw, so it draws in the background, and we can pick a color for it later. Okay, so that's going to be part of our background. And I'm just going to leave that in place right now. So what we want is some text across the top now that's going to look really nice. So we're going to put ToDo. And that's going to go right at the top here of our design. Let me just scroll up here a bit. I'll just pull everything down so we can actually see it. So we're going to be using some menus. Let's just pull it down a bit. So I'm going to use the word ToDo. Don't necessarily like this font, so we can come up here to fonts and we can pick something a little better. So it has kerned only fonts, was exactly what we want, but I want to go over here to filters, and with filters I want to have a single layer or a writing. So I'll pick that one, and we'll see what we get. If there's something really nice and easy, that will look pretty good. And it says Poo Marker. Let's try that one. That one doesn't look too bad. I'm going to have to download it here. And font downloaded successfully. So now I can click on it. And there we go. That's kind of a cute little font. So that was Poo Marker. You might want to find it, but you can choose something that you want. And I don't really want it as a basic cut. I do want it as a pen. And I don't necessarily want it as black, so I'm just going to put raspberry for now. That looks pretty good. And this is going to draw, it's going to ask for a black one, but we can make this a light green color. So let's just go see if we can find a green to put this in the background. So I want it nice and light. If I can find light, let's go sage here. And that's just so it fades off into the background. It's just giving us an image. Now what we want with a to-do list is, of course, we either want squares to go down the side to point out, and so we can do a check mark on it. And then we also want some lines to go across the top. So let's start with our shapes. Once again, this is pretty easy. Now we want our square to be pretty small, so let's make it 0.5. And it should change them both to 0.5 at the same time. It's still pretty big, 0.5. I'm going to even make it smaller. Let's make this 0.25. That's a pretty nice small square. And probably going to put the square about there. Okay, and I don't want it as a basic cut. I want it as to do a draw. I don't mind the black so much, but I'm going to make it tawny just so that we can see it. See it in the background here. Now the next thing we want is a line that's going to come across. So as you notice in the shapes, we do not have a line, but we have a score line. So I'm going to click on the score line. I am going to rotate it 90 degrees. And of course we don't want it quite that wide, but we want to place it so it is approximately across from it here, and it looks like, you know, that's not a bad spot for it. We are going to do a few little things here. I'm just going to make this just 3 inches so it comes to it something smaller. All right. That looks pretty good. So I'm going to click on it. I'm going to change it from score to pen. And we are going to change that, of course, to tawny to match the other one here. I'm going to take this one and the line. I'm going to hold down my shift key, so I've got the 2 of them. Now we want to align these, and we are going to align them to their bottom. So align bottom here. And then I want to group it. So if we line them to the bottom and we group it, that looks pretty darn good. It's pretty centered. So now here is something interesting we're going to do with this. Now this is an easy way to get things to line up. So I am going to duplicate this and push it all the way down. It's going to make it exactly the same space apart, so I don't have to align things in that way. So I am just going to click on duplicate, and I'm going to keep clicking on it until I reach the end of our page here. So we're getting pretty close. I think that's about it. Okay, so what I want to do is I'm going to turn off a couple of items here on the side so that we don't get them. I'm going to scroll all the way down to the bottom. We're going to turn off the basic cut. We're going to turn off the to-do, and we're going to turn off the corn. And that's just so we can work with these pieces. So I'm going to highlight all of those so they're all selected. Now, what we want to do is we want to align them all to the left. So I'm going to pick on left, and now they've gone in the right order, and they are lined up, and they are evenly spaced. So that is perfect. So let me just group those so we don't lose them. Perfect. So let's scroll back to the bottom and turn on our to-do, our corn silhouette in the background, our square. So now as you can see, we've got this nice little to-do list. I am going to highlight this all together. And what we want to do now is attach everything. So now we have a to-do list that is all ready to go, and we know we can fit 2 across for what we're doing. So we can duplicate that, or we can change the background. Depends on what you want to do here. I am just going to use these both. I am going to duplicate them, and they should come out on the same, so I'm just going to leave them this way because when we go to make it, it's going to be really easy. So let's click on save, and this is our to-do list with corn, and I'm just going to save it. Take a second or two to save. Looks pretty good. Looks like we've saved it. Click on the check mark. Now let's come over to make it, since it's a big project. It should come out on the same mat, and it does, and we're going on mat. We're going to click done. Now you see this is going to fit perfectly on our 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. It's actually going to cut out 2 to-do lists. So all we need now is to go over to checkout, because the corn, it wants $6.99, so I can go ahead and authorize the Pooh marker font. I am going to go ahead and buy this font, so I'll just authorize it. But if you didn't want to pay for it, then you could have come and used a different font altogether. So I'm going to click on continue. And it's going to come up with the type of cardstock you're going to use. It says the most popular here. I'm going for a medium cardstock. And if you can see over here, I have a medium cardstock that I bought at Office Depot. It's just a regular heavy cardstock that we're going to use. And I'm going to place this on my mat in just a second. Also, what it's telling us here is that we need our pens. First of all, it wants the sage, the light green in the back, and then it wants a fine tip, and then it's telling us the different pens that it's going to ask for. So let's set everything up here. Let's take off our backing here. Just move that over. It's going to cut out 2, so I want to get this as straight as possible. I'm going to straighten it out right here. Looks pretty good. I have a brayer tool just to hold it down to make sure everything stays in place. I always recommend having a brayer tool. You can buy them from Cricut, or you can get them at the Hobby Lobby or even Michael's. So what it's asking us to load is a sage pen. That's the pen we use for the corn in the background. Now I have several different pens here that I can use from Cricut. This one is a 0.4 and it is just a green one, and I'm just going to mark it here to see if that would work. Yeah, that would be not too bad for the green in the back. I also have this pen set that I got from Cricut. It's good for all the Explorers, just not for the Joy, and they are 1.0. Well, I'm not going to use a lot of 1.0, but you could use these pens for exactly what we're doing. So I'm going to move my maker into view here, and I'm going to place my green pen. Remember, it is just going to be drawing our corn in the background right now. So let me just load this up. Now I'm going to have to change the pen a couple of times because we have ToDo written in another color as well. And that's where it's asking for some tawny. So let's just click on go here. It should draw our corn. All right, it's finished drawing the corn, and the next one it is asking for is a tawny color. Now I don't have anything really dark, but I do have it. Oh, I do have a tawny, and it's a 0.4 as well, so that is perfect. Let me just put the lid on here. Let's just load it in so it clicks, and let's press go. Now it's going to make the little check boxes for us. Oh, it's doing our to-do first. All right, it's time to unload our mat. I'll unload the mat, put it underneath. I'm just going to remove our pen and store it upside down in my jar here. And I'm going to come over to the screen here and click on finish. So now we have our to-do list. And we've got two of them that we've made. I'm just going to pull the outside pieces off. Now I could use this as a quilling piece later. I'll just move it off to the side. And you can see we have these two really nice to-do lists. You'll see that our squares are all in sync on top of one another. I could have made them a little bit smaller, but I think this is the perfect size. And the corn is light enough in the background that you're going to be able to write whatever your to-do is over top. Okay, so take these off. We are going to bend the mat away from the material. And the reason is your material will not curl. Just got to get it started here. And there we go. So there's our to-do list. And always remember to put your protective paper right back over top of your mat so that you can use it another time when it doesn't get all stuck up with materials around. So here we are. We have our two to-do lists. So I hope you had a lot of fun making this. It's your own imagination. You do not have to buy the fonts like I did. This is a Pooh marker. Also with your to-do list here, you can add stripes. You could do anything you want with it. You can color it in. You can cut them out and put them on top. And that's all there is to this craft. Until next time, happy crafting.